Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello. We have with us again Judge Andrew Napolitano. And I want to be happy because everything else brings me down so low. So, very honored, privileged, and thankful to have Judge Andrew Napolitano on with us. And you got to go to Judging Freedom to watch the people he has on. And Judge, thanks for being here. And you have an article coming up tomorrow. And it's a little bit about the Pope, but the Pope of Dope. Do you remember what was that guy's name? The comedian, Father Guido Sarducci.
Oh, right, right.
Pope of Dope. I saw him, by the way, in Poughkeepsie at the place called The Chance. He was a riot. And the Pope of Dope is a Pope of Dope right now to me. But again, you anybody believe in what you want to believe in. Freedom of speech, freedom of thinking, but by their deeds you shall know them. And Judge, you have an article in here, and it's about someone, by the way, that I quote all the time. It's part of your article, and it's about St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yes.
And a lot of it has to really do with what's going on now. And I want to make this clear. Judge, if you say you despise the murderous genocide, I looked on the air before we just came up. They only killed 37 Palestinians yesterday, wounded over 120. And this is day after day after day after day, bulldozing it, bombing it to ruins. So if you come out against that, why, you're an anti-Semite. So what would St. Thomas Aquinas say about that?
Wow. Thomas Aquinas would say you have the natural right to speak however you wish. But if you come out against that and you're on a college campus today and the college receives federal funds, the federal government will come down on the college for failing to punish you, even though the First Amendment says Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. That's the latest kick that the Trump Department of Education is in. That's what this Harvard case is about, except in Harvard, it involves billions and billions of dollars. I don't believe the feds should be providing money for education to begin with, but they have, and they do it pursuant to a contract, and they're obligated under the terms of the contract, just as you and I would be if we signed a contract with each other. The feds want to change the terms of the contract so that they can hold back the money if the money fails, if the school fails to punish certain speech. Certain speech. That involves the government evaluating the content of speech. That evaluation is absolutely prohibited under the First Amendment. The First Amendment says you can think what you wish and say what you think and publish what you say and associate with whomever you choose, without fear or favor or reprisal or reward or threat from the government.
Again, just what you said too at the beginning. What the hell are we giving all this money to Harvard for and all these colleges? Who made up this crap? I mean, the Harvard is where the special people go. My name is Anthony Blinken. I went to Dalton. I went to Harvard. And we're giving them all this money. What a bunch of crap, stealing our taxpayer dough to give it to these very rich people who want more money.
Well, very rich is actually an understatement. Harvard's endowment is over $50 billion. This dispute is over $2 billion, although the feds have given Harvard $9 billion in a year, but the dispute is over $2 billion.
They give $9 billion a year?
Yeah, they do. It's a lot of money. Now, much of it goes to legitimate, I'm not saying the feds should pay for this, but much of it goes to legitimate scientific research. And the argument is you're punishing the wrong people. You don't like the way the administration is run. These people that get the money have nothing to do with the administration. They're doctors in a lab a half a mile from here. But where in the Constitution is the federal government authorized to have anything to do with education, local, state, or federal? You can look as hard as you want. You won't find it. It's not there. It's not a federal issue. But the feds have spent a fortune on it. The Department of Education was kicked into high gear under that so-called conservative Republican George W. Bush.
Oh,
I'm laughing because I know what you're going to say about him, little daddy's boy.
yep. Yep. And again, 90% of Americans swallow the crap spewing out of little Georgie Bush's mouth. We're going to get that guy Osama bin Laden dead or alive. And we go into Afghan, the longest war in American history.
Yeah.
Killed what? Hundreds of thousands of people, cost us trillions of dollars. Another losing war by losers. And that's who's running the country. A bunch of losers. And not only the United States.
Doesn't matter which party's in power. Our friend Tom Woods said it best. No matter who you vote for president, you get John McCain. They all have the same attitude. Trump is continuing to fund two wars. One is an absolute loser against Russia, and the other is some of the worst genocide the world has ever seen.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget bombs away over Yemen.
I mean, this Yemen thing is absurd. I understand that Hegseth is under a lot of criticism for mismanagement and for failing to safeguard secrets. But when he says we've gone long, deep, and been successful in Yemen, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Pepe Escobar, our mutual friend, was there when the bombs came down. They attacked residential neighborhoods. That signal leak that they were all boasting about was the destruction of an apartment building because a guy was in there visiting his girlfriend. That's called a war crime.
Again, they're bombing them almost every day now. It just keeps going on.
Correct.
And this is very important, Judge. Again, I do podcasts, twice a week about the Trends Journal. And yesterday I did one showing the covers, the front pages of the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal for several days. Not one article, that's the business section. That's a stupid thing. But anyway, not one article about, just to show you that big picture, that's called the business section. They don't have journalism anymore, so they put these big pictures in. But not one article in the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal about the genocide being committed by the United States support of Israel. Not one article. Not one article showing these little kids with their arms blown off, the buildings blown to pieces. Nothing in the media. But going back to your article, it's very important about this, about St. Thomas Aquinas, about what he talks about. He said, Aquinas taught that all rational adults can discover the truth by the exercise of free will. And the exercise requires rational thinking. At a time he taught this, it was radical, as other scholars taught that forces outside of us drew us to discover truths.
So, if you like chocolate ice cream, did you choose the chocolate or did the chocolate choose you? I know that sounds like a silly question today, but before Aquinas, people believed the chocolate chose you. After Aquinas and his demonstration of the existence of free will, we recognize that we chose the chocolate. But free will is meaningless if the government interferes. So a government that is minimal, a government that respects free will, allows you to discern right from wrong, good from bad, chocolate from vanilla, whatever the case may be.
The theory of natural rights, extrapolated from Aquinas, teaches that our rights are permanent claims against the whole world that no one, not even government, can take away. Today, we allow government to take our property, privacy, and free speech from us all the time, you write.
Well, we talked earlier about free speech on college campuses. I mean, the government can't arrest somebody for making a statement that the government deems anti-Semitic, but it can punish the owner of the private property on which the statement was made. It's insidious when the government puts its thumb on the scale of free speech. So if you say I'm in favor of a Palestinian state, a statement that is a true reflection of the public policy of the United States of America since 1948. The Trump administration wants to deem that as an anti-Semitic statement. And depending upon who you are you a citizen or not, and where you are you on public property, private property, or private property that receives money from the feds, the owner of the property can be punished if he fails to punish you.
Yeah, I mean, again, this article would come out tomorrow. Aquinas knew that the government is a negation of liberty. And he said that way back then, and it's right in front of us. And, people say to me sometimes, Salenti, you get so angry, and we don't like your language, grow up. Here's what Thomas Aquinas said. He who is not angry when there is just cause for anger is immoral. Why? Because anger looks to the good of justice. And if you could live amid injustice without anger, you are immoral as well as unjust.
Very true.
Where is the anger of the people of the slaughter of these innocent Palestinians day after day after day after day?
Where was the late Pope's anger over this? Where have religious leaders been?
Yeah. Oh, he said he didn't like it, right? And it's something like that. By the way, this is the Pope thing. Here, this is the New York Times after the Pope died. Look at these. Look at this coverage. Groundbreaking Pope reshaped the church. What groundbreaking? I mean, the cat was really heavy. Maybe if he fell down, he'd break some ground. I wonder why he died, eating all that stuff and junk. But anyway, look at this coverage of this guy. What did he reshape the church? What did he do in the name of Christ to stop the slaughter of all these people? What did he do?
Nothing. He could have, when he was healthier, gone himself to Tel Aviv, or he could have sent Cardinal Parolin, who speaks many languages and who's the Secretary of State, to stand in front of Netanyahu with an international television cameras there and say, stop. In the name of God, stop the slaughter, stop the killing. None of that happened.
Nothing. And again, it was just the Easter weekend. Where are all these religions? How come they're not out there? How come they're not out there in the name of the Christ that they claim to preach? Oh, yeah, pass the basket. Give me money at church. Yeah, that's their routine. Where are they? Where are all these religions that supposedly believe in Christ that aren't out there protesting the slaughter of these innocent people? Yeah, this is the New York Times. You ready? This is Pontiff meets with Vance after criticizing U.S. policy. New York Times article. So he meets with Vance, then he dies, right? Here is what he criticized. The meeting came after the Pope criticized the Trump administration's deportation policies and urged Catholics to reject anti-immigration narratives.
Really not an issue for the Pope. American domestic policy. Who knows what he was thinking at the end of his life? I don't defend him. I'm a harsh critic of him, as you know from that column you have in front of you. It is kind of odd that he dropped dead within 3 or 4 hours of meeting Vance.
You see Vance, you want to die, you know. but but again, it's about anti-immigration. It's not about the genocide being committed.
Right. Right.
And it's
the genocide, you know, you mentioned the number of people that were slaughtered yesterday. That seeks to shock, Gerald. That's how inured we've become to this Israeli slaughter. Is it no longer shocks? I don't even know what the number is up to, 55, 60,000. According to the Lancet, there's another few 100,000 bodies under the rubble. 50 or 5 or 60 is the number of burials they've had.
Yeah. And the little kids, I mean, could you imagine being a little kid, your arms blown off, feet blown off, what your life is going to be like? And it's tens of thousands.
Yes.
In front of everybody. Oh, and then they cut off all of the aid going in there. They're starving them in front of everybody's eyes. And you come out against it, you're an anti-Semite. So, Judge, who else you have coming on your show?
Well, I have our dear friend Phil Giraldi today, and our other friend Max Blumenthal. A reporter had the temerity to challenge the spokesperson. Max wasn't there, but he's going to analyze it. To challenge the spokesperson for the Israeli Foreign Ministry. Why does Israel have atomic weapons? Why and Iran can't? And of course, she wouldn't answer the question, and she kept obfuscating, and the reporter kept going at her. So that's what Max and I are going to talk about. And Phil brings a very sad subject: the suppression of Christianity in its birthplace.
Yeah.
How the Netanyahu government is making life more and more difficult and miserable for Roman Catholics in Israel.
It's so sad. I mean, this is, again, going back to the Iranian thing, as you well know, I believe this whole thing about this negotiation thing is a setup for the United States and Israel to go to war against Iran. They're going to say Iran. Wait a minute. How about just yesterday, the United States put more sanctions on Iran?
Oh, God.
To cut off more of their oil supply or sales? Oh, you're in negotiations, and now you just put more sanctions on them? They're going to say that Iran refuses to negotiate with America, and we have to watch out because of their nuclear capability, and we have to stop this. They're setting this thing up as a front, as I see it. There's not going to be any negotiations. It's a sideshow. Because what did they say about a week ago, that Trump stopped Netanyahu from bombing Iran? Remember that one?
Yeah.
So anyway, this is terrible what's going on. And if the people don't unite for peace, again, how sad it was to me to see an Easter and no religions coming out in the Christ that they believe in, calling for peace on earth, goodwill to all. Anyway.
That's where we are today, my friend. You and I have to keep pounding away at this. I love the comments people send you about the two of us together.
Two paisanos.
Right.
Judge, thank you for all that you do. And everybody remember, go to Judging Freedom. The people that he has on, what they talk about, you're not going to find anywhere else. Thanks for being here, Judge.
Thank you, Gerald. All the best, my friend.